Love is tearful or it's gay. It's a problem.
Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Chilean jazz vocalist Claudia Acuna. We caught up with her in May 2020 to talk about quite a bit during the COVID-19 lockdown, like her latest 2019 CD, Turning Pages. She was born in Santiago and raised in Concepcion, and she established herself on the Chilean jazz scene in her early 20s. When she arrived in New York City in 1995, she quickly gained recognition as a leading voice on a scene rapidly being transformed by a wave of brilliant Latin American musicians. Her story is a good one. Enjoy.
Thanks for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz.
Oh, please. My pleasure.
I figure reaching out and talking about the music is a good way to kind of get away from it. So thanks for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So you have a relatively new album called Turning Pages, and it has to be bittersweet because now people have more latitude to probably listen to music, but you can't back this up with live performance.
Right. That's kind of where we have to stop drastically the train because, as you said, that part is for now postponed until further notice.
Well, let's go back to the beginnings of your life. You're from Santiago. Talk to me a little bit about your childhood and how you got into jazz.
I sort of got into jazz by accident in many ways, and not knowing that it was this music called jazz. I don't come particularly from a musical family per se, but is known in South America, the love for music is very strong. And because my parents listened to music, at home it was always music, different type of music, and more sort of, at the time, maybe considered popular music in some aspects, but my parents loved tango and folk and folk music. And at the time when my parents got TV, unfortunately, I was raised in a dictatorship and they controlled the TV. But they would play a lot of musicals. And in those musicals, I was exposed for the first time to people like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, et cetera, the musicians and singers that we know were part of that era in the movies, they have those special appearances. The Cotton Club, and the radio played a very strong role, and through that I met some older people that when they heard me sing, they were like, "Oh wow, you like jazz," and I was like, "What?" What? And they're like, "Oh, you don't know what is jazz?" And I was like, "Nope." And they sort of start helping me to put a name and self-talk myself into this large line and tree of many, many people who have been the masters of this music. And soon I was in love with Sarah Vaughan and Errol Garner. Those were my first sort of cassette or tapes that I have that I consciously went and got them, and I knew exactly what I was exploring or getting into, and I just couldn't believe that the music that I have been for many years attracted had a name, and I had a whole world to discover. That's sort of where everything, in a short version, sort of started, if you know what I mean.
With that said, what was one of the first live shows that you ever saw that really, really moved you?
I went to a couple of local things, but I think one show, and I think the first one that I saw of a large magnitude in terms, maybe not in terms of audience, it was not like a stadium or sort of, but actually it was kind of, but in my heart and mind, it changed. It kind of put me in the direction that I wanted and been pursuing all these years, sort of. It was a Dizzy Gillespie concert when he had what he called the United Nations Band. And I was so moved by it because I knew by them already who Dizzy Gillespie was. And when I saw this band and I saw how he embraced the Afro-Cuban music and the amount of musicians that were from different parts, from Panama, from Brazil, from Cuba, from Puerto Rico, etc., I thought to myself, because at the time people were sort of making fun of me in Chile, like, yeah, right, how are you going to sing jazz to the gringos, you know? It's like if a gringo comes here and try to dance or sing cueca. And I was like, why not? In my mind, you know, I was maybe 14, 16 years old, you know? So with that being said, that was the day that I promised to myself that I was definitely, this is what I wanted to pursue and be part and learn. But also he inspired me to think of possibilities, meaning, okay, if Dizzy Gillespie embraced the Afro-Cuban music, I promised that day to myself that I was always going to honor my roots and bring my roots to this music. And that's why in every single album that I have done, you always have seen songs of Violeta Parra, Victor Jara, and how I pay tribute and honor to my roots, where I come from, and respectfully how I want that to be part of this music, and the generation of the 90s that came and appeared in the scene in New York. I think many of us did that, brought our roots to try to represent and honor the roots of this music, but also navigate in a unique and maybe new, fresh way, if I may say, if I don't use words too big.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that explanation. So did you always dream of coming to America and specifically New York?
Yes. When I learned more about the music and I had access to either people that came to visit and perform in in Chile. And at the time I was already sort of making noise in the small scene in Santiago, Chile. So I have started having access and meeting people that had come to New York, and then the movies, and then you hear all the stories of what it is, New York, with all the clubs and the jam sessions and the books that you read and everything. You know, at this point, I'm putting my hands in every information that I can possibly get in order to learn everything that I could. So it was always in my mind to come to New York. Yeah.
So when you did finally arrive, was it just mind-blowing? I mean, was it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because also it was my first time traveling outside of my country, and also I didn't really speak English. And as you know, New York, it's a very, blow mind city. So imagine a girl from Chile, south of Chile, and I arrived on October 8, 1994 in this city, and I was like, whoa, hello, New York, I'm here. I'm Claudia,
Right
come from Chile.
So what do you like the best about being a musician?
What I like about being a musician? Oh, in one word?
No, you can take as many as you need. I
like the possibility of being such a creative force, and that I can do something from nothing and then bring something collectively and collaborate with others. I love the fact that we can heal and through music, and that we can make ourselves and people forget about everything else, and we connect with that particular moment when we're so taken by a note, a feel, a moment, you know. I love to be a musician and the possibility of break so many barriers and walls, because when music walk in, you forget what religion, what race, what country. If you understood what the person is singing or not, it's such a powerful force that makes you forget about so many things. And we can all be in the same room, connected in one strong vibration, as music is part of, you know. The possibilities that I have had to fulfill so many dreams, and I know where I come from and how far I have gotten and how much further I would like to go and create. The possibilities of meeting so many people from so many different countries and culture, that we all share the same love, passion, curiosity. Those probably are a few of the things that are coming right away to my mind.
So a little bit more specifically, why do you love jazz?
Freedom. The freedom that have always given me. Maybe now things are more open, but I believe this music, to me, you know, at a certain time I love music, period. If you look at my playlist, I can go from Debussy to Duke Ellington to Chick Corea to James Brown to Violeta Parra. But as a child, and when I fell in love with this music, everybody sort of wanted to put me in a box, you know. Oh, you should sing classical music. Oh, no, you should sing folk music. Oh, no, you should be in a choir. Oh, no, you should be in a rock band. I did all of them. As a curious child, I went through all of those. But I was singing classical music, learning, and the teacher was like, this is not jazz. You learn the pieces, and you start sort of improvising on Mozart. You can do that. And if I was singing A, B, C, D, you know, this traditional, and then I discovered jazz, a music that has an element that not any other music really have, which is improvisation first. And then when I saw Dizzy Gillespie, he opened my mind and heart to the possibility that this music have given so many, that is to bring elements of other styles into this music. I love that, the freedom that this music have and has given me and continue giving me.
We're going to get to the point where we're at the end of COVID-19, and you know, musicians going to get back on the stage, and the audience is going to get back into the venues. What do you hope both musician and audience member realizes from this time away from the music?
The thing that I hope people realize is that art is part of our life and essential. The arts have always allowed people to remove maybe from things, and the appreciation of seeing us or watching us perform that. Mm-hmm.
Final question I have for you is this. Everyone has their idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but you live your life. Who do you think you are?
I am a child from part of this universe, resident and citizen of the music, a warrior, extremely sensitive sometimes, loyal, stubborn, a little silly. Sometimes I should have been a comedian, some people think. That a mother, a daughter, a friend, a woman.
I like that. Hey, thank you for taking some time out today to talk about the music during this very surreal time on the planet. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for allowing me to maybe get to a little corner where people may know me, and the ones that don't, maybe they'll be curious enough to go to Spotify or Instagram and be one more person who either listen to my music or help my followers, because everything now is about how many followers you have.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest singers in Chile, America, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Claudia for her time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.